guys, and welcome to the third time lucky of filming this video. So the first time I filmed it, I wasn't happy with it. The second time I filmed it, I forgot to turn this on. So I had a beautiful 35-minute clip with no audio. So without further ado, let's try and film this Q&A properly this time. Diving right in, the first question is, what are your plans at uni and afterwards? So my plan for September is to just get through uni. So I found uni really quite difficult, but mainly because of the pandemic and mainly because my mental health and my physical health, but mainly my mental health. So I'm currently on a break because of my mental health. I stopped going to uni in February. So I continued riding with the uni team, but I stopped going to lectures and placement because, yeah, my brain kind of just said nope. So I want to get through the next year comfortably, preferably without a big mental health blip, preferably without a mental breakdown, and ideally with the use of both my legs. But I've just had to email uni to discuss whether or not I'd potentially need a new risk assessment, should I need a walking aid in the future. So that was a bit scary. After uni, I will be doing 2 years as a newly qualified teacher, which is now called something else, but a newly qualified teacher. And then after those 2 years, I will be officially graduated with qualified teacher status. At which point, I don't know what I'm going to do. Probably something else, because the idea of teaching like long term doesn't appeal. I don't want to work in mainstream. Ideally, I want to work in some sort of animal therapy, with the long term goal of running my own farm, which would be an educational setting. So, not 100% sure yet. We will kind of play it by ear. The next question is, what is your favourite memory of UOS Equestrian? So I don't have just like one memory that jumps out and goes, that's the best, because there's so many. From watching our novices go from being on the lead rein to being able to walk, trot, and some of them canter on their own is amazing. Personally, I think one of my favourite memories was in my first year doing semi-privates with another lady called Jade, and we used to ride at like 9 o'clock in the morning. We'd be at the yard from 8:30, and they were just the most magical lessons. Like, I learnt so much in them, and I really miss them. And yeah, you know, I miss lessons with Ange. But yeah, being able to get back on was just phenomenal, because that was my first time riding in years when I got back to uni. And then the other one that springs to mind is cantering Zeb with no stirrups. That was amazing. And yes, he didn't stop. And yes, there was a couple of moments where my instructor thought I was going to hit the deck, but it was just the most fun. Like, I really enjoyed it. And I was really proud of myself because I asked to do it, so I think that's got to be up there. The next question is, what phone did you end up getting? So in case you didn't know, I recently got a new phone. If you watched my Equine Lane Cheshire Show vlog where I introduced my new microphone set, you will see how smashed up my previous phone was. It was getting on a bit. I don't think I had 3 years, a couple of issues, dropped it a few times, sort of thing. So I ended up with the Samsung A33. I really like it. The sound quality, especially with the mic, is fantastic. But even without the mic, it's actually quite good. The camera quality is fantastic. I'm able to create content for brands that brands enjoy and like, which is perfect. It's a nice sized phone, and I got it in white, and then I have a like sage green and jade sort of marble phone case, which I love. But yeah, it's a nice phone. It's got really good storage on it. I have an SD card in there, but I still have 60 gig on the phone and another 4 gig left on my SD card, and that was just so that I had all of the photos from my previous phone on my new phone. So yeah, it's a fantastic phone, and I think it cost me about 250 quid. So it's low range price wise for a smartphone, but it's still really good quality and I enjoy it. Up next is, who is your favourite Olympic horse? That's hard. If you're talking like old school, Primor Pride, Pippa Funnell's Old Pride was, I love that horse. It's such a ride. I love watching the videos I can put together. Currently, I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see what horses go to Paris in 2022. Sorry. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see which horses go to Paris 2022. If Joe Stockdale takes Cash, then it'll be Cash, hands down. Cash is the most beautiful mare. Although I do also really like Harry Charles is right, Romeo 88. So yeah, there's a lot of horses on the circuit at the moment that are beautiful, and I would take home in a heartbeat. Charlotte do Jordan's rides. I don't think there's ever been one of those that I've not gone to have that in a heartbeat. So, yeah, I think it very much depends on who the current team will end up being. Next up is one brand you would love to work with. Now, for this, it really depends on what kind of work you're talking. If you would say, for example, you're going to get a huge paid collab tomorrow, what brand do you want to be with? I'd say Fairfax and Favour, because they are like the ultimate equestrian country brand, like fashion-wise. However, if you said a brand want you to go and do trade store work, I'd say Flexa, because I loved working the Flexa trade store. As much as I enjoy being open to working with anyone, I really enjoyed the vibe of the Flexa store. Like, Lorraine and Ellie are lovely, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. Similarly, if it was a brand that wanted to take me to an event, then, I was really thankful for the tickets from High. Like, I had the most amazing time at the Royal International, which I will link up above. But I would love to work with London International because I love that show. Similarly, I would quite happily work with any of the big equestrian events, Blenheim or Burley or Boldsworth. Like, I think it very much depends on the type of work. But yeah, I'm really happy with the brands I currently work with, and I'm very, very lucky to get to work with them. And yeah, I think it very much depends on the type of work and the type of project it was. Next up is, what's your favourite show to attend? That is obviously going to be London International. London has a special place in my heart, and I love the new XL venue. I know a lot of people don't like it, I know it's quite controversial, but for me, as someone with disabilities who struggles with stairs and uneven flooring and things like that, XL is fantastic. It's really easy because I hop on a tube and then I hop on the Dockside Light Rail, the DLR, yeah, and you get to XL, and then I think it was a ramp? It was either a ramp or a lift up, and then you literally walk across it and you're at the entrance, and then it's pretty much all flat. I think there's a slight slope at one point, but it was pretty much all flat, other than getting to our seats, which was absolutely perfect for what I needed as someone who, struggles with their legs. So yeah, I'm really, really happy with the new venue, and London will always have a special place in my heart. I cried through the cavalry ride. It's always phenomenal, and yeah, I sobbed. I love the Shetland Grand National. I love Shetlands in general. I love that there's the live zone and the range of people that are there. I think that's fantastic and a huge opportunity for influencers as well as brands and, sports personnel. And also, I like the variation. I really enjoyed watching the free-stunts last year. That's something I'd never done before. Normally we go and watch the show jumping, and as much as I loved watching the show jumping, especially from ringside, which is a memory that I will have forever, standing literally next to the Whittaker's trainer with Scott Brush less than 2 metres in front of me and William Whittaker on the other side. Yeah, my brain still can't quite comprehend that I was lucky enough to have the opportunity, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. This Says Me was stood, walked past me at one point filming for FEI, which was, again, amazing. The idea that I was stood around all of these people that are seen so, prestigiously in our industry, and I just was there. Yeah, London will always be a special one for me. Next up is someone you would love to meet. I would love to meet Pippa Funnell. I have followed Pippa Funnell since I was little, since I was 7 or 8. I'm a huge fan. I used to follow eventing religiously. I don't anymore, unfortunately. I kind of just, as I got older, it just wasn't my thing. As much as I still love the big 3-day events, and I will still happily sit and watch them, it's not like I sit and religiously time my day, so I'm free to watch, the 4 hours or so that badminton's on TV to watch it all. But yeah, Pippa Funnell, I used to read her autobiography, I had her books, I was a huge fan, and I would love to meet her now, especially having seen how successful the Billy stud is. It would be amazing just to sit and talk to her for a few hours, get to know about the Billy stud, about, her different horses, her favourite memories with different ones. Yeah, I think that would be amazing, especially because obviously her autobiography came out a very long time ago now, so a more up-to-date one would be amazing, that sort of thing. Next up is, what is the next big purchase that you would like to make? This is a difficult one, because in an ideal world, I'd love land. I would love 8 acres, 4 stables, 6 at a push maybe, so I've got a tack room and hay storage. That would be, the dream. I don't have the money to do that. So I think realistically the next big purchase I'm going to make is either going to be a galvanised steel feed bin with 3 sections for my 3 different feeds, a small plastic shed thing to keep my feed bins in, because my feed bins came back from Warwick broken, basically. I don't know if the wind took them or something, or a tree or something, whatever, but my orange feed bin has a hole in it that's currently held together with tape. So a new feed bin, realistically, is what I would like going into winter, and somewhere to store them so that they don't get damaged. I'm debating the galvanised steel ones just because they're a bit more hard wearing, but I would consider the plastic ones if I realise that financially I'm not going to be able to do it. Or the slightly more boring option is my car still needs a new back window because it just hasn't been sorted yet and I want to get driving again. So in order to restart my lessons, I want my car fixed so I can do lessons in my car. So they're kind of the three more realistic big purchases that I'm likely to make. Next up is one piece of equipment you love or couldn't live without. Is it sad to say my wheelbarrow? So obviously my ponies are on grass livery at the moment, so it's not a problem, and I don't really have an essential thing whilst they're on grass livery. But when they were stabled, especially River, when I had River and Charlie, two big wet thoroughbreds, there was nothing I loved more than my wheelbarrow. You may have seen it in a previous vlog. It's pink and it has two wheels, and it's so much easier to like manoeuvre, to tip. It's from Wheelbarrows Direct, and I think it was around £100 new. My mum got it for Christmas a few years back, but I've kind of acquired it over time. But yeah, the wheelbarrow is such a useful piece of kit. If you're talking a piece of equipment that I would love to like have for a similar kind of whilst we're on grass livery, I would love cameras, wildlife cameras, so that I could keep an eye on them from home, especially when I'm at uni, because obviously they are 200 odd miles away from me because they're on full grass livery. And as much as, you know, I love getting updates from occasion, like I would love to just be able to be like, I'm having a bad day, how are my ponies? So yeah, something I couldn't live without is, yeah, my wheelbarrow. It's also really good for poo picking and rag walking because it's got two wheels, so it doesn't like wobble as much. Next up, what would you do if you didn't do dressage? Cry? Apparently that's not the right answer. Apparently I'm supposed to pick another sport, like within the equestrian industry. I'm not a show jumper. What other sport would I pick within the equestrian industry? Well, I'm not a show jumper, so it's not going to be show jumping. I'm not an eventer because I don't like the big solid fences. I can do little ones, but I don't like the big ones. And the idea of my BHS stage 3 requiring me to jump a 90cm solid fence does fear me slightly. But if I want to do my stage 4, it's like a metre, a metre 10, so I'm going to have to put my big girl panties on and get a grip if I want to finish all my stages. So who knows? I think realistically I'd probably take up showing because as much as showing is very particular and very fussy, you are able to almost pick and choose your shows. So for example, there are certain judges that I wouldn't show under because I own a bay gelding. They don't want to see a bay gelding ROR that's 16-1. They want the white socks, or they want the black, or the chestnut, or, you know, the cute facial markings. River is an awkward shaped thoroughbred. He's got a big rib cage, so he always looks ribby no matter how fat he is. The only time he doesn't is when he's fluffy, and they don't want to see him in a 6-inch winter coat. So, you know, I'd have to be very careful selecting what shows I did. And again, it would depend on what my next ridden horse was. If I had a coloured, I'd probably be a lot easier because there's a lot more coloured classes than, you know, having effectively a thoroughbred. So yeah, I'd probably go down the showing route. But again, it would depend if I did some more research into Lautrec or endurance, because I do enjoy hacking, which makes endurance kind of sound fun. But yeah, I don't know specifically if I was to drop dressage tomorrow what I'd do. But again, I hope I never have to make that call because I love dressage and always have, you know, over 10 years now. So we'd see. Next, describe your ideal horse. That is a difficult one because having discussed this recently, you know, River is retired and I'm gonna have to look for a loan horse because I can't afford one at the moment. There is no point in me going out onto the market because the kind of horse I want is going to be 20,000 pounds. But, you know, if tomorrow someone went, here's 25k, go and buy a dream horse, it's going to be one of two or three things. Either it's going to be a 14-hand coloured cob, or it's going to be a 15-2 connie, or it's going to be a nearly 17-hand something. Probably a thoroughbred, or a warm blood cross. Or Oz, effectively. I'd like Oz just slightly bigger and maybe slightly slimmer built. So I'm 5'8", that's 173 centimetres, and I'm mainly leg. But I also have a really long torso. So I look big on most. petite horses. So if I had a big flashy dressage horse, it would need to be at least 17 hands, but petite to take my leg, but still look proportional to my body. Whereas a 14-2 cob that was wide enough to take my leg would need to have a long enough back that I didn't look disproportionate. So Taz, for example, my first horse, was a 14-1 gypsy cob, and he just wasn't wide enough. He was a very compact horse. He was a 6-foot rug, and I could get my feet to almost touch under his belly by the end of it. He just wasn't very stocky. So I looked ridiculous on him. I looked too big in the end, and that's why he went, because we weren't suited to each other. River, on the other hand, is a 16-1 thoroughbred, but because he's so petite, I look really big on him because my legs are too long, effectively. So it's very umming and ahhing. Effectively, my dream ideal horse is polite and quiet on the ground, not going to try and kill me, and preferably not a grey. But realistically, I don't have a set specification. I want a horse that can move well enough to do dressage up to maybe elementary, maybe a medium, but I feel like I might be pushing it there. You know, as long as it can do a nice novice and push up maybe to elementary, I'd be happy. You know, ground manners are much more important to me than aesthetics. And as long as I didn't look ridiculous on them, I wouldn't particularly mind their size. The next question is, what was the last book that you read? The last book that I read was Perfect Confidence by Kelly Marks. I recently picked this up after a confidence crisis, and people trying to tell me to get over myself. It's a nice book to go shut up with, but also it was a really nice confidence boost. Kelly is a fantastic writer, and I love the way she writes. So I picked up Perfect Confidence because I used to have this and I loved it. And then I was on eBay and I was like, oh, it was only like £3-4. I was like, I'll see what else they've got. So I managed to pick up Perfect Manners and Perfect Partners. So I paid about £10 in total for the 3 of them from World of Books, and they're £16.99 each normally. So it was really nice. They're not the signed copies that I originally had, but they have gone walkabouts. So I was like, right, you know, I need something to ground myself with because this confidence crisis isn't going away. You know, I said a few times, oh, you know, I feel so much better. And then 10 minutes later, I'd be like, nope, I can't ride. Oh, no, I'm fine. Oh, you know, I placed. Oh, you know, here's proof that I can ride. You know, I'd watch Oz's novice test back and be like, wow, actually, that was really good considering he didn't want a canter. And then I'd be like, yeah, you scored less than 50% in your prelim. Kind of meant, like, it was a proper pendulum. So I picked up a book and I've been trying to read 10 to 20 minutes every day, and it's been a huge help. The Perfect Confidence is about overcoming fear, gaining confidence and achieving success with horses. And yeah, it's just one of those books that I really enjoy time and time again. And I'm hoping this time around it's going to stick in my brain and I'm going to, fingers crossed, you know, be able to come back and be happy and enjoy life. So the next question is, what was your favourite dressage test that you rode this year? It would be probably Prelim 14. Oz was a really good boy that day and that test went really well, and I'm really happy with the score we got. Obviously we came third that day. Was it 14 that we came third out of 8 or third out of 5? I can't remember, I'd have to double check, but we did 2 tests that day. One was out of 5, one was out of 8, and we came third in both, and I was so proud of him. Hopefully I'm going to get to reride that test at some point. However, I don't know if I can physically afford to do the dressage this month, because every dressage show I do at East Bolden costs me somewhere between £75 and £100, because I have to get there, because obviously I'm currently not in Sunderland. I then have to pay for my test fees, which are 35 or 45 depending on how many tests I'm doing, and then obviously accommodation because I've got to stay the night and then come home again to go back to work. So yeah, depending on how my new job goes, depends on whether or not I'll be able to get there, because I was meant to start work on Monday, but there's been a couple of issues, so who knows, we'll see. And then the last question is, what is your favourite motivational quote at the moment? Now, I kind of have two. One is practice makes progress, not perfect. Because practice makes perfect is such a missold lie. Like, perfection isn't a thing. You know, practice makes progress, and progress is what we strive for. And the other is kind of something I made up myself, but it's something that I keep reminding myself of, which is, if William Foxpit can trot down the centre line and turn the wrong way at Badminton 5-star International, I can mess up at unaffiliated dressage league. Because after my last dressage show, I had a real blip. Again, no one's fault. You know, not mine, not Oz's, not Jack's, you know, no one's fault. But I just had a blip. And actually it reminded me that if, you know, William Foxpit, a, you know, multiple international, you know, star, can trot the wrong way at badminton, I'm allowed to have a bad day at East Bolton. And yeah, that's kind of how I'm getting by at the moment. And focusing on life. So yeah, that is all the questions for today. And I want to say a huge thank you for watching. So if you managed to get this far, please feel free to leave any questions you have down below in the like the questions box, like what's it called? Comments box, which is YouTube. And if you have just had your A-level results and you're thinking, oh my god, what am I going to do? You know, what's the riding at uni like? Hit me up with questions. I am so excited to start filming uni content again. Last year I filmed a couple of videos. They were terrible quality because the lighting was horrific. So this year I'm going to smash it out whilst I have good lighting and a free house. Because my siblings are currently still on holiday, which is amazing for filming because that means I have this whole room to myself and the house is quiet. So thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. If there's anything else you'd like to know, like I said, drop it down below, or if you want it to be private, pop me a message on social media, you know, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Digital Horse, you know, I'm always about, and I hope to see you all very soon. Don't forget to comment down, like, comment and subscribe down below, and if you hit the notification bell, you'll get notified every time I post, and I've got a really exciting collaboration video coming out this week, which I'm so excited to share with you. So it'd be really nice if you guys could see it first. So without further ado, I will love you and leave you, and I'll see you in the next one.